Hey, it's the Political Brown Kid here. And I told y'all in a few videos back, or one video back, I don't know how I'm going to post this stuff, that I was going to do a video talking about why interrelational relationships are here to stay. Unfortunately, they are. But here's the reason why. And I'm going to kind of look at this first from a white perspective. I'm going to give another kind of functional equivalent, should I say. And this really has to deal with why racism was not going to work in America, why it was going to eventually be doomed in America. And here's a big part of the reason why. Of course, there was the cotton gin, but the cotton gin still needed people to work it. You still needed more people to kind of pick through it. I think it required more labor, actually, more slave labor. But just when you start interacting and living around individuals more and more and more, you start to provide an attachment to those things. And I'm talking about strictly about white people. Especially, I think the mistake that white people made, or the mistake from a white perspective, if they wanted to keep slavery going. So for those whites that wanted to keep slavery going, one of the places where they messed up at was having black people raise your kids. That was a big mistake, because what you have to realize is this: the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. That movie, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, with I forget who even starred in that, but that movie was not only just a good movie, but the premise of the movie is very true. Remember, the nanny comes in, and the wife turns her kids over to the nanny. The wife is so engrossed in working and being a productive working woman, and I'm not trying to take any woman shots. I'm just basically just pointing out what was happening in the movie was that the husband was off working, doing his thing, and he had his profession. The wife wanted to go back to work, so they hired the nanny and brought in this nanny to take care of the family. The nanny, who just had a miscarriage, so she was still lactating. She was feeding the woman's children her milk. She was the one spending time with the kids. She was the one whispering things into the kids' ears and kind of turned her oldest child kind of against the mother, or and kind of not really against her totally, but kind of made her more sympathetic towards her. And then she just had the younger baby really relying on her for her milk and sustenance. And the baby gravitated more towards the nanny than towards the mother, because it's the hand that rocks the cradle. That's the hand that rules the world. And so when you are in the deep South and you are having, these black slave women raise and take care of your kids, and babysit your kids because you're too busy or don't want to be bothered with dealing with kids all day, what happens is you have a bunch of kids that grow up and they look and they say, she was like my mama. Their fond memories are of so-and-so taking care of you. So-and-so, I don't know what they were doing in slave time. I don't know what games they played. Hopscotch, petty bat, red light, green light. I don't know. But your memories are going to come and they're going to incorporate these black slaves into your memory. And so when you grow up, you're going to have a little bit more empathy for those people picking cotton in the fields. And that was a part of it. And so when you look at today's times, the interracial relationships is sort of what also too like the LGBTQ community. I've seen so many people who are devout church people. Once you realize that your son or your daughter is a part of the LGBTQ community, that traditional Christian stance that you once had changes up fast, because now you have a dog in that fight. Your child is a part of this community. And so now you have to say, well, do I side with God and do I side with this Bible? Or do I side with my baby that I brought into the world and that I know is a great human being, and, regardless of who they sleep with, and, and I've seen what my child has struggled and gone through. And so you see a lot more people who have a dog in that fight, and who may have previously had a stance against homosexuality. They've now switched and softened up on that, and they've definitely softened up since the church and everyone else is kind of in the government has taken a different position on it. So I'm kind of working this up to now we get up to where I'm talking about interracial relationships. When you look at the interracial relationships, you have several factors going on as well. And we're not talking, I'm not going to get into the cause of, black people not loving ourselves because I've already documented all that stuff. And that's a part of the big reason why you should not be doing interracial relationships until we have healed and worked on ourselves. But the reason why interracial relationships are probably here to stay is because a lot of people have a dog in that fight. A lot of people now, you see your white neighbor and now you're integrated and you living in neighborhoods. And now remember, today's time is not even like the 80s, because remember, even though black people were integrated into society, we were integrated but still not accepted. You lived on your side of town, white people lived on their side of town. Now you see more and more people commingling and living amongst each other, or if they don't live amongst each other, they're shopping. Everyone wants to go to the nice fancy grocery stores and malls. So you may leave your neighborhood, go to theirs, and you're doing, and vice versa. Well, not vice versa, because they're not coming to your neighborhood shopping. That integration doesn't work both ways. It only works one way. And so you have those dynamics of where now you're feeling a little bit more, you've humanized your white neighbor or person that you see in your community. And then also too is when you start seeing your children grow up and you start seeing your children, gravitate maybe towards a white culture, or because you put them in particular schools, they have white friends, they have white love interests. You have no other alternative, you feel, but to support that child. And so that's the reason why that the interracial relationships are going to be here to stay, because now people who were more than less likely against it back in the day, once you start seeing that your children are in interracial relationships, or that your children's children, or you got grandkids or great grandkids that are now quote unquote mixed, as people want to call it, but they're black. They just have diluted blood. Once you start seeing that, then of course, once people come to my channel and see this content, they get all up in arms because they're internalizing it and they're personalizing it and they're taking it personal. But the bottom line is that, unfortunately, the demise of the black community will be interracial relationships. Because like I told y'all before, you look at what they're doing. They have reclassified everything so that it diminishes black value. Once again, everything that benefits white society, they leave it as is. Y'all don't really realize this, but white people were trying to classify Asians as Caucasians. And I think they were trying to classify Indians at some point as Caucasians, as black as Indians are, as dark as Filipinos are. Y'all need to figure out the history of Filipinos, because Filipinos, they have black blood. They try to classify every race that's quote unquote doing something as white. And they try to associate them with white. So what do you see them doing with the interracial kids? They're trying to classify them as, well, you're not black. You're not black. They tell people that down at where Amber Rose is from. I think she's from Seychelles or Cape Verde. She's from Cape Verde or Seychelles. They try to say that those people down there aren't black. I don't make this stuff up. Anybody that they want, and Paul Mooney tried to tell y'all, I don't know why y'all don't listen to Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney tried to tell y'all, he said that when white people want you, they take you. He said they took Michael Jackson. He said they took somebody else. I forgot who else they said. I think he said they took Dorothy Dandridge. He said they took James Brown, but they gave him back. When white people want you, they want you. And what they want now are all the light-skinned blacks. I don't make this stuff up. I'm just watching the show now. I told y'all about Black Sails. I just started watching it. First thing you see is a black female rolling around with a white man. And then she's rolling around with a white woman. She has not interacted. I'm on episode 4 right now. She hasn't interacted with not one black man. Every time you see her in the show, she either giving a white guy a hand job, she's either sleeping with a white man, sleeping with a white woman, or she's butt naked, chained up, and being in prison for, I'm not going to spoiler alert, for whatever it is, the crime they thought that she did. She is yet to be seen with a black person. She's yet to even call herself black. They are shifting the goalpost to say these people are no longer black. These people are something else. And you see the big difference in Obama's generation. Obama is from, I think he's Gen X like myself, or baby boomer. He's one of them. But when you see those older individuals that are of mixed heritage, when you ask Sally Richardson, what are you? She says, I'm black. When you ask Christian, I forget the name, he's in Hollywood, light skinned brother, he does the movies on BET. When you ask him what he is, he says, I'm black. When you ask Obama what he is, he says, I'm black. But when you ask this new generation, these millennials and these Gen Zers and this new generation, the Alpha Gen, I don't know what they're called, Alphas or whatever, the next generation, they all say, I'm mixed. And even I hear kids, they'll say, yeah, the mixed kid. They don't call them black. And I even get corrected. I had a Latino coworker try to correct me about Obama. I said, yeah, Obama's black president or something. She said, he's not black, he's mixed. And she sternly stated, and I said, no, he is black. And it was about to turn into an argument. I had to just shut down and shift the conversation for not trying to seem like a jerk, because she's standing firm and trying to correct me to let me know that he's not black. So they're trying to rewrite your history. And that's the problem that I have with the interracial relationships, because they know that black has a more dominant gene. But once again, you have white people wanting to rewrite history on black people. They first told you 1/8 drop of blood, you're black. They set the standard. They first told you were the N-word, then they told you were a Negro, then they told you were colored, and then they told you were black or African, and you went with everything that they told you. We always accept what the white man tells you. Now they've come out with some DNA testing, and they tell you that this is what you really are. And they always trick black people, and black people always fall for it. But this is also because black people, once again, you have to understand, that's why I say a lot of my videos are related. They're different topics, but they're related, because this black thing is so complicated. Black people have hated themselves for so long, and everybody looks for a way not to be black. Everybody, you saw the black people back in the day used to try to pass for white because life is easier, or passing for white. Life is more, people perceive life to be better and more grander when you can be classified as white. You're seen to be in the cooler group, the better group when you're classified as white. And so that's why you see a lot of these mixed kids, they're not classifying themselves as black. And they're using the dumbest reason for it. Well, I don't want to disrespect my mama or disrespect my daddy who's white. So I just say I'm mixed. That goes to show you, just as Dr. Umar said, and he was correct, you have a conflict. You were born into conflict. You were born with a conflict on your shoulder. You should be able to say with pride, I'm black. I have a white mother, but I'm black. There's nothing wrong with you stating that, but they feel as though it's a rejection of their race if they side with one race over the next. And this is the reason why I say interracial relationships are not for black people at this point in time. It's really not for white people. You don't hear any of these arguments. Let me just make this point too, because I know this video is stretching on a little longer, and I'm going to try to wrap it up. You don't see any arguments between white people and Asian people over the ethnicity of a child. You never see a movie called White or Asian. They got a movie with Kevin Costner and Octavia Spencer called Black or White. How come you never see a movie called Asian or White? You never see that. You never see that movie. How come you never see a movie called Indigenous American or White? Because they're the only population they want to control is the black population. They don't have little half Asian, half white babies on television questioning their identity. They only do it with black people. They're not questioning and trying to convert those half Asian kids to being white or classifying themselves as mixed. They only do it with black people. And black people, once again, like I told y'all, we are the dumbest, weakest race. And I'll say it. Not all of us. I'm not speaking to all of us, but the few of us that are fighting the fight, we are overpowered by a bunch of people that just want to go along to get along. They like society is working fine. I just got a new job, got a new promotion. I'm able to buy some stuff in this American society. So let's not create waves. And they'll sit there and they sip the Kool-Aid at the detriment of their own people. I don't make this up. And I don't fabricate things. I just report the news. So don't kill the messenger. So I've done enough rambling on and on about this. But I just kind of wanted to just kind of put this out there into the universe. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment in the comment section. Also, hit the like and subscribe button. Once again, this is the Political Brown Kid. I'm out of here.